May I have your attention?
I'm Greg Inda. Today, I sit down with burlesque performer Willy LaQueue and talk about his number, Flamingo Fop.
May I have your attention? May I have your attention?
I'm sitting here with Willy LaQueue, burlesque performer. Let's see, how did you get started in burlesque?
So I went to school at U of I in Champaign-Urbana, and I was really involved in community theater down there, and I was in a production of Hairspray.
Okay.
And a few of the other members of the cast were kicking around this little burlesque troupe called Carnival de Bosch. So I just begged and begged and begged to audition for the troupe for months, and then they finally let me try something out at a Pride show. And at the time I was also a sex educator, and so burlesque seemed like a great way to merge my interest in sexuality and sensuality with theater and dancing. My acts when I started were probably a little bit more conceptual, and they had all sorts of layers of meaning, and it was like, and this move means this, and this means this. And over time, it's kind of, I've broken that down to just be a little bit more audience focused, because that's where all my money comes from, but also it's the most fun is like having that exchange.
Speaking entirely as an artist and what your message is, what's your ideal audience member?
Rich. I feel like audiences react really well when it's authentic.
Yeah.
So even if it is like a bachelorette party or a group of dudes in cowboy hats or even the audiences in Italy where I just came back from were really were very quiet, and they really like, you know, classic burlesque and very pretty Dita Von Teese type images. And so for me, just to kind of try to be in your face and make people uncomfortable. I love making people uncomfortable because I think it's important. I found that you can really trust your audience to go on the journey with you. I want to change some sort of perception so that there's just a wider spectrum of sexuality being displayed. That's always kind of the forefront of my mind.
Okay.
And most of my motivations for like most of my dances is just to really push forward that idea of like that sexual autonomy coming from a queer person. One of my favorite acts is one where I vogue for the first half of it, and then after I strip all my clothes off, I almost literally masturbate. People love seeing like a fabulous femme boy, like, you know, voguing and living his life, but that's why I add the orgasm thing on top of it to be like, yes, we're fun, we're fabulous, we look great in the party, and you know, gay men are beautiful and whatever, but we also fuck each other.
Boylesque.
Yes.
That's a term that's got a little bit of heat to it. I mean, people feel differently about that as I guess a descriptor of male burlesque. How do you feel about the term boylesque?
Sure. I see both sides. I think that a male burlesque performer, reasons why not to say boylesque would be because we should always be putting in as much effort into our performance as women, and I don't like the idea of just being a man on stage and having that be the gimmick. I like the term personally because of when I went to the Seattle Boylesque Festival, it was maybe 3 years ago, and I remember just being backstage with a bunch of other guys, and most of them were queer, but even if they weren't, we were all weirdos and outcasts, and we were all kind of like, it was a weird little puzzle piece of a bunch of different guys. And I've never felt a community like that in that particular festival. In my whole entire life, everything I do is about finding a community in anything that I do. And so if I can use art to do that, then that's exactly what I love.
Your music choices tend to be, well, hip hop influence for sure, but they're all super intricate.
Right.
And what I want to say was that Show Me, I overheard you talking with somebody because I listen into what everybody's saying, is that, because somebody was like, well, how do you choreograph? And I guess you said that you just listen to these songs like on repeat constantly, and then you just figure out what you're going to do and you just picture it all in your mind.
Mm-hmm. That's always kind of been the way that I choreograph things, is I'll listen to a song and I might only get a minute and a half into it, and then I got to start it over and go from the top. I'll find the songs and I'll put it together and I'll mentally choreograph everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I'm being good, I'll at least give it a couple run-throughs. Most of the time, I'll just try it out on stage and see what happens, and then give it the first maybe 2 performances to see if it works. And then if it doesn't work, I'll scrap it. And if there's something there, then I'll usually kind of I have a studio at my house with a bunch of mirrors, and then I'll kind of workshop it.
You have a very definitive makeup style,
Right.
That seems to be consistent from piece to piece,
For the most part,
right? So do you view Willy as someone else?
Willy is an extension of me. It's Willy is I'm still very much myself, but it's really once the eyelashes go on, it's which is so silly, but it's a very specific thing because I can always feel my lashes when I have them on. When I kind of first started thinking about the character, I was thinking a lot about specific gay men, mostly, that I just really connected to in some sort of way. And my first act was to a Rufus Wainwright song. And so I use kind of my inspiration from Rufus and his music. And then there was an old nightclub performer named Gene Malin back in the 1930s who I developed a huge obsession with. For the most part, he was always in a tuxedo, and he would sing songs about being gay in 1937. He always kind of stayed comfortable and true to his masculine identity, and so that's something that really stuck with me.
So let's talk about your act, which you have said the still working title, even I don't even know how old this act is, but is Flamingo Fop.
Yes.
And as I said earlier, I didn't even know that was the name of it, but I'd always thought of it as a pink flamingo.
Right.
So that's really cool. Where'd that act come from?
So that act came from multiple different places. I needed something for a show called Sugar, and it was all bright, happy, fun things, which is not where I tend to go artistically. I was getting kind of tired of making really heady and overly intellectual pieces, so I just wanted an act that would be literally sugar. I just wanted something that would be dumb and fun and that I could just goof off on stage with.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that at the time I was really feeling the Bruno Mars album.
Yeah.
I really like that kind of 2-song model. I'll do one thing that kind of, it's like a greeting to the audience, and it kind of sets the stage and sets the character. And then I put in a song, it's called Falling Out by Cosmos Midnight. And I put that one at the end to just really, to make it me.
Yeah.
I found some photos of the drag queen Violet Chachki, who I love very, very much. And she had this look for one of the, like a reunion photo shoot on Drag Race where she's in this pink flapper gown and she's got these like crazy ruffly feather looking things on her shoulders, and it's all in this bubblegum pink, and then top hat with a huge feather. And I just could not stop staring at that outfit. And it was just like, when I saw that, and it was right at when the sugar show was gonna happen, it was like, that's it.
That's perfect.
It's perfect.
So the costuming for Flamingo Fop.
Yeah.
How did that all come together? Did you build it? Did somebody else build it?
I built it.
Okay.
I cobbled it together.
Do you tend to build most of your costuming?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, mostly because I can't afford
Sure.
to pay people to do it.
Yeah.
I made the suit. Well, I didn't make the suit, but
You Frankenstein the
yeah,
suit.
like, how did it... well, I had a friend sew in the zippers, so I did have somebody else do...
Because it's got that zipper down the back, right?
It's got a zipper down the back and then 2 zippers down the sides
Okay.
of the pants. And yeah, I had Gin Fizz, thank you, Gin, for doing do that part. The shoulder pieces are actually, it's just a bunch of feathers, and they're actually removable because that suit is machine washable, which is
Yeah.
dope as hell. The hat I did all by myself, and then with feathers that were given to me from Bella Blue, thank you, Bella.
Aw.
And then the bottom thing is like a harness, and it's super intense, and it's got a bow tie attached to it, and it's super strappy, and that was made for me by Doris Knight. She's down in Hot Springs, Arkansas,
Okay.
and she fucking knocked it out of the park. That thing is so fucking cool.
If people want to book you, where should they, like, what do they do?
Well,
Carrier pigeon, what's the
Yes.
preferred method of communication?
you can find me at I'm on Instagram all the time, Willy LaQueue, and that's UE, that extra UE at the end. I'm on Facebook, and I get a lot of bookings through there. And then my email address is willylaque@gmail.com.
Well, thank you so much for your time and
Thank
for
you.
your thoughts. You're a wonderful performer. I love any chance I get a chance to photograph you. It's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Your acts are an inspiration, and I love talking with you
Thank
today.
you. I
So
appreciate
thank you
it.
very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.